no one knows. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.
Hello, everybody. How's it going today? Thursday, I believe. Hope everybody is doing good. The weather here is amazing. I think it's 12 degrees outside. So nice. Spent a good part of the afternoon cleaning dog poop. So that's how I'm doing today. Anastasia in Cleveland, thank you for becoming a member, and welcome in. Thank you for being here. And Sarah, hi. Hey, Dodie. You give us really good information. You know, I just talk about the things that come up that I think are important. I hope you made it back. Kimber, hey. Prayers for Jack and Lily. Snoop Sisters Investigate. Hey, thanks for coming. Hey, Colleen and Lynn. Oh, is Shan, is she live? And Lacey Frankie, good to see you. Hi, Marie. And Nancy, good to see you. Hey, Brookie Cookie Butterfly. Ron Mexico, good to see you. Hey. Amy, nice to see you as well. Hey, Gran and Betty Knight. It's really nice in Truro, is it? Good, good, good. And Time for Truth, good to see you. Hey, Seawood. Yeah, it's a very beautiful, beautiful sunny day. A lot of times we'll have it's still overcast, but really nice, especially in BC. But in Alberta, they call it big sky country here because there's no mountains. It's just prairie, right? But the sky is absolutely huge, and it's blue and not a cloud in the sky. It's beautiful. Bonnie Garrett, good to see you. Hey. And I'm glad you made it back. So that was quick. I'm happy that was so quick. Today is going to be a little bit, I think, difficult. We're going to go through, everybody's been going through all of the interviews and the new articles and stuff that were out yesterday. We'll watch some of them and get my thoughts and your opinions. But I wanted to talk more about Jack and Lily, CPS, Bruises, and some of the stuff that we've all heard about, we've talked about, and we've looked at the pictures, and we've heard about Jack with his black eyes, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. And just FYI, I did, send messages to certain people and gave them a heads up what I was going to talk about today, and I asked them to not even watch from the bushes. I don't like upsetting anybody, but these things, I think they're important to talk about. And so we're going to talk about them because I think this is my safe space. So hopefully it is for others as well. Roots, good to see you. Hey, -4, gross. Did I dye my hair? No, I didn't. It's the light. It's the light. I can't decide if I want my curtains open to let the daylight in, but then by the time we get an hour in, the sun starts going down and then it's too dark in here, so I've got lights shining on me. And thank you. My hair is naturally red. Just in case anybody's wondering, this is not my natural red. It's as close as I can get it. Because I was blonde for a lot of years. Countryside, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Wolfie, you made it. Good to see you. Thank you. So I had my mods on a hunt today for screenshots. As you know, I got a new laptop and all of my good stuff is on my old laptop, but a lot of stuff didn't transfer over. And now my old laptop takes forever to start up. I just cannot get into it. So I sent my mods on a hunt today, and thankfully one of them came through for me, and we're going to talk about it. Donna, good to see you in Nova Scotia. Red Room? What does that mean? And I should dye it that color. It's close, like it's close here. I'll show. That's the color. Anyway, let's put my light on. Okay. When you get a chance, hi. When you get a chance, Charmaine, hi, by the way, I'll cut something and send it to you. Okay, I will have a look. Thank you. Hey, Autumn. And I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Let's talk about the stuff people pussyfoot around. I'm down. But we're going to do it. Well, there's literally no way to hit this stuff gently, and that's why I gave heads up to certain people to not even, don't even try to go in the bushes today. Let's just... One of the most intriguing parts of watching this play out online is the level of confirmation bias. It's wild. It is. We all have our theories, but I think you're the only one with an open mind. It's hard, Ron, because it's just, it's difficult to keep an open mind. It's even when I find myself just commiserating and being like, yeah, you're right. I have to stop and remember, like, I wasn't there. And I don't want to have to apologize to anybody at the end of the day when this is all said and done, because it will be solved. I have no doubt. Hey, Sharon and Sailor Moon, good to see you guys. Thanks for talking about this, Char. It feels like it's being swept under the rug lately with other headlines. Lily and Jack were neglected, and more, in my opinion, and nothing should overshadow that sad fact. Yeah, for sure. But I want to clear up. Okay, so first of all, let's look at this here. Okay, just one sec. The reason why... Okay, so full transparency, I found something the other day, or something was brought to my attention the other day, and it was really heartbreaking because we've seen picture after picture after picture of potential black eyes on Jack. And we heard about Lily getting a black eye, what was it, the day before the disappearance, or Wednesday at Grandma Patty's. But we'd never seen a black eye on Lily. And I saw something the other day. And so I've been thinking about it, and I wasn't going to touch it. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to more than touch it. We're going to talk about it. So I went back because we all know that Daniel had said somewhere that CPS was called because of the kids' behavior issues at school, right? And the closest thing that I could find, like I said, my laptop won't start up. So my mod was able to find this for me, thankfully. So I'll just read this out to you. Investigators have access to all resources and all the tools that the RCMP can offer. And even outside the RCMP, we have other organizations that are engaged with this investigation, said Tremblay, referring to the National Centre for Missing Persons and the Canadian Centre for Child Protection. Daniel Martel acknowledges that Child Protective Services did visit the house prior to the disappearance. He says the visit was prompted by teachers who were concerned about the children's behavior at school, and social workers wanted to meet them to see if they could get them in to be tested for autism. He says that testing was supposed to take place in May, the month that the kids disappeared. Daniel Martel, the children's stepfather, told CTV News that Lily and Jack possibly have autism, something they were supposed to be tested for later this month. So there's that. That's the closest. But I think we can all agree and remember that Daniel said they came because, like it says here, the behavior issues at school. We remember him saying that. So I did, not that I didn't know already, but I like to have, something to back it up. And I know AI, the Google AI search overview isn't the best, but it's something to look at, right? It's something to read. It's something to not measure stuff up to, I guess, but I think this gives us a fair, my question obviously was in reasons that a teacher would call CPS in Canada, because teachers are mandatory reporters, like we talked about before. So this says, in Canada, teachers are mandatory reporters required by law to contact Children's Protective Services, or CPS, or local child welfare authorities if they have reasonable grounds to suspect a child is experiencing abuse or neglect. Common reasons include physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, severe neglect, or a child's disclosure of danger. Key reasons for reporting physical abuse: unexplained, repeated, or suspiciously patterned injuries, like bruises, burns, or cuts; neglect, consistent lack of food, clothing, or shelter; poor hygiene, consistent lack of supervision, or untreated medical or dental needs; sexual abuse or exploitation, child shows knowledge or behaviors sexualized beyond their age, or directly discloses sexual abuse; emotional, psychological harm, evidence of severe bullying, rejection, or psychological mistreatment by guardians; substance abuse, parent guardian is using drugs, alcohol to the point where the child is in danger or neglected; behavioral or emotional changes, extreme withdrawal, aggression, self-harm, extreme fear of going home, or suicidal ideation. Important considerations: reasonable grounds. Teachers do not need to prove abuse. They only need to suspect it based on evidence. Their mandatory duty is failing to report can have professional consequences. The age limit, while mandatory reporting usually covers children under 18, specific provincial laws may vary. But what I'm seeing in there, the only thing about behavior is extreme withdrawal, aggression, self-harm, extreme fear of going home, or the other. I don't think that we've ever heard any of that aggression in Jack throwing a boot. Maybe, but seeing some of the pictures and the condition that the kids went to school in some days, I don't think that throwing a boot would be a reason for them to call. So, I mean, the point of me bringing this up is I don't see behavioral issues that, are reasonable for us to believe that that's why they were called in. There are other things that are potentially alarming for a teacher that we know about. But what do you guys think of this list? What do you guys think of this list? Hey, Ernestine, good to see you. Oh, did you? Good. Yeah, and I mean, there's only a couple of people that I'm concerned about. The rest of them, suck it up. You were either there, you saw it, you knew it, you ignored it. So I'm not worried about them. You do have to have an open mind, as none of us know. We can think we do. And just like Rob McCann said, he's not going to talk about what he thinks or what he believes. He'll only talk about what he can prove. And that's, to me, what we all should go on. And that's just how I choose to conduct myself. There's so much to question, it's never ending, and still don't have all the answers, and we won't. Hey, Johnny. Charmaine, you stuck to your word when you started this community, in my opinion, created the most rational and logical space for discussion. I appreciate that. Some days it gets kind of away from me, but it is challenging, but we try. We try. Good to see you, Helicopter Grandma. Hey, Carrie Bailey. Thank you. Thank you very much. I got it, and we're going to listen to it. And Triswing, good to see you. Let me scroll down because I asked a question and now I'm just saying hi again. Yes, I did that years ago, and then I stuck with the blonde, and then I was like, wow, I'm too old for that. Confirmation bias is an issue, and so is people refusing to think logically. Many people are putting feelings ahead of facts, pushing narratives that have massive logical fallacies. I agree, but some of the narrative, like some of the opinions out there, are based on like the commonality of a lot of other cases and what usually is the outcome of these cases. So I understand that. But to me, it's always better to be respectful about it. I don't know. Beautiful where you are, John. It's good to see you. Yes, we have to use logic here so often, especially us women. We tend to speak out. Yeah, we do. Jerry Lynn, good to see you. Out of emotion. Yeah. Crystal, anybody answer my question? What are you thinking? This is heartbreaking. It is. This is not speaking of Jack and Lily, this list that we just read, right? This is just reasons that would prompt a teacher to call CPS. Because I was curious if, their autism or, learning disabilities or anything like that could prompt a call to CPS by a teacher. And it just doesn't look like it. It's not that I didn't know that. Apparently, Lily pulled out her hair. Speculation. I heard that. There are a lot of those that I believe Jack and Lily were a part of. It could be a piece of every single one of them. Not so much the third one down. We haven't even heard any talk of that. We've heard like absolute 100% speculation of possibility about that, but the rest of it, we've heard these stories. So my cousin lost her kids, and the father also had them in counseling. He would angry outbursts. His sister told the counselor when he got mad, it scared her, and CPS was called. Good. It's. Yeah. Confirmation bias. They went and helped with getting him proper resources. They went and helped with getting him proper resources. Who? Daniel or them? I would just like to say straight off the hop, okay, so no matter what the reason that CPS went in, one of the resolutions could have been giving them resources, right? So Daniel's version, and I wish I had the screenshot, but Daniel's version could be partially true. Just the reason that they were called, I don't see that in this list. I just don't. Hey, Jam. Yeah. I seen on the news yesterday morning, they said the RCMP lead investigator on this case doesn't see it ending in a court case. He didn't say that, no. He did not say that. We'll watch it, but he did not say that. I guess, but this case has so many lies and I'm on the fence. We still have to listen to other people. Matt, is Cat, good to see you. Hey, Blue Jay. What's your take on the latest CBC interviews? Well, we'll listen to them, Ron. I honestly, like, my own opinion on them, I think it's most likely that that's the very last time we're going to see Daniel do any kind of interviews, based on events happening after that interview was filmed. As for Cheryl and Angelina, I do think that they did a good job. And there are some takeaways from other people's, I guess, critique of the interviews that, I mean, I have some thoughts that I wanted to share when we're watching them. And then as for Cindy's interview, I understand why she wouldn't want to do it on film. Like, people take pictures and we create thumbnails, and a lot of people use AI, and I don't blame her. And she's also got her job to think about. She's probably, guarded due to the behavior of and the result of everything that's been going on. Okay. And I don't know. We'll listen to the information, but I was a little disappointed. Disappointed is such a strong word. I'm happy that Cindy finally spoke. I'm sorry, but the things we have heard and the state of the home are red flags to me. Bruises, Lily pulling her hair out, Lily flinching. CPS were there. Apparently teachers bought them coats. They do have like a Coats for Kids drive, and I did hear that they did receive coats from the school. The behavior issues are a result of neglect at home. There was a lack of routine, hygiene, probably poor diet, and gross lack of attention. Did anyone read them a book, play with them? I don't know. Kim Mitchell, good to see you. I'm glad McCammon finally admitted that there was a car traveling in the area in the morning of May 2nd. I wish that would have come out the first time the car was mentioned in the media. Poor Wong and Smith. Well, the thing about that to me is, I mean, it was good that he acknowledged that this was something that happened the day of, or the early morning hours before the kids disappeared. It's good that he acknowledged that that was something that did in fact happen. But the reason why they never came out and said it is because there's no video evidence of it happening. There's no surveillance of it happening. I think what's happened here is they are taking Brad Wong, his account, and putting it into the file. Like it's documented now as evidence, right? I don't know if they've been able to corroborate it, but the fact is he acknowledged it, and that, you're right, Seawood. Or sorry, Sea Legal. I was looking at Seawood next there, and I don't want to speculate, but the story since Jack and Lily went missing is concerning to me. The pictures do not lie, Shar. The home, the bruises, the locks on the fridge. I don't, yeah. Not a prayer. Good to see you, Mike. Thank you for being here. Tina, good to see you. It can be, but that would be a psychologist that would, a child psychologist that would determine that. I thought Daniel said to DT that they missed a lot of school because their immune system. I remember that. He did. So the news lied. Well, we can listen to his own words. I think you're still referring to what Rob McCann said. We will listen to it. And I don't recall him saying that at all. He didn't say that. I've always been interested to know if the RCMP interviewed Daniel's ex-wife, and if so, what pattern repeated. You can guarantee that they talked to her. Daniel, oh, because if only because his other two kids were set to come that weekend for a visit, so there was probably some kind of overlap in a timeline there or reason to reach out to her, and also to get background on the parents. I'm sure they talked to a lot of people. Didn't Daniel say the kids were aggressive with other kids and Lily would pull her hair out? Oh, my heart, this poor babies. Uh, I forget if it was an RCMP news release or in the documents, but it was said CPS went there for abuse and neglect. It wasn't in an RCMP news release. It wasn't in the documents. Maybe an article. I have no memory of that, Jesse. Not only since what happened since, but he didn't do himself any favors. A couple of red flags from my perspective. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Daniel again out here. Don't forget, Daniel's biological children said that Daniel abused Jack and Lily. Why would they say that? Because they witnessed it. Kids, well, you can't say kids don't lie, but they would have had to have been fed the information to lie about it. And why would Christy do that to her own children? I don't buy it. I think they must have seen something. Like, I don't think they sat there and said, my dad used to abuse these kids. I think that they probably just told a story or two about certain things that went on, and just the way kids do. They don't know that they may have known that it was wrong, but they don't know that it's child abuse or blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Okay. So, yeah. They didn't have winter coats, but Daniel always has name brand clothing on. Yeah, I'm not gonna put any judgment on that because you can go to any Value Village or, secondhand store and buy tap out shit. Violet Boy Ian, good to see ya. Thanks for coming out. Were Jack and Lily not wearing the same clothes Thursday night since Wednesday? How does that happen? I wonder where was Lily living when she started school, at Patty's or Daniel's? Well, that would have, like, this year, or like when she started kindergarten. That would take a little bit of math because I'm not 100% sure what month they moved to Daniel's. So if she would have been in grade 1. I would say she was probably living at Daniel's first day of school. And who else? April Lambert. Anybody else that I'm missing? Good to see you. I feel for the staff at the school. They will be traumatized too. Yeah. And I mean, hopefully. Oh, man. If you guys haven't seen, what is it? The Gabriel Fernandez. Man, I wish I could remember. It's on Netflix. Heartbreaking. But teacher called and called and called. It's a DCFS in the States. Same thing, CPS. Called and called and called. And this boy's abuse was getting worse and worse and worse. Until eventually, like, we're talking burns, chemical burns. We're talking terrible, terrible abuse. And she was talking, and she was to the point where she wanted to not let him go home. And, like, they didn't help him. And it was too late. He's no longer with us. Remember, Lily was fine to go to school on Friday. Jack had no illness, as Daniel said. To me, them missing so much school has to do with parents getting up, getting them ready for school. Probably. I don't recall him confirming. Yeah, we'll listen. I remember Malaya saying kids were behind in school, lack of sleep, concentration, and misbehaving due to home life, I'm sure. Absolutely. The news anchor said that the lead investigator said that. I'm not saying it's true, but they did this on the news the other day. Okay. So, and maybe it wasn't on the interview that we'll watch. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is what we're going to watch together. He didn't say that. So, maybe he said it off camera and she wrote it in an article. I don't know. So let's move now to, does this just happen? It does. Perfect. So I'm going to put this bigger because after a teacher calls Child Protective Services, the agency screens the report to determine if it meets the legal definition of abuse or neglect, potentially leading to investigations, family assessments, or mandated services. Possible outcomes include home visits, questioning of parents and children, referrals to community resources, or court-ordered supervision plans. Common consequences and actions. The initial screening, CPS reviews the report and may contact the school professionals, doctors, or parents to gather more information. Investigation and assessment. An investigator may visit the home, interview the child, and talk with parents. Family services. If concerns are validated but not severe enough for removal, the agency might provide support services or refer the family to counseling, parenting classes, or addiction treatment. Safety plan or supervision order. A court order or safety agreement may be created outlining specific terms to keep the child safe at home, such as drug testing or in-home support. Case closure. If the investigation finds no evidence of abuse or neglect, the case is closed. What the teacher's experiences. Immunity. So the teachers are generally protected from liability if the report was made in good faith. Confidentiality. The teacher's identity remains confidential, though families may guess who reported them. And follow-up. The teacher might be contacted by a caseworker for further information during the investigation. So if we just take what Daniel said as maybe part truth, we can look at the family services one. If concerns are validated but not severe enough for removal because the kids were not removed, the agency might provide support services or refer to the family to counseling, parenting classes, or addiction treatment. And I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that here we are. These are all possibilities. So indeed, both could be true. The CPS could have been called for neglect, abuse, behavior, aggression, stuff like that. They could have indeed been called for the reasons why everybody is speculating. But the case could have been closed, or they could have been referred to these support services. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yes, they have. And if we're going to, and don't get me wrong here, but if we're going to sit here and question the information that Cheryl, Cindy, and Angeline gave on their interviews, we really need to take a step back and think about what they're going to say to the news, knowing that it's going to get out there. Like, I know that they've all talked to Malaya and they've tried to get more information out of Malaya, but they're not going to sit on the national news and say that. So, and they're not even going to sit there and tell people what Malaya told them. They're just not going to do that. We've created that problem that, we can't get firsthand information. Again, the length people will go. Someone suggested that the RCMP may have hinted that no family are suspects, but technically Daniel is not family. Come on. He actually said he is not prepared to identify any suspects when he was asked if the family is considered suspects. So it's not only in what is said, but it is what isn't said. And again, they're not going to tell us where their investigation is. And kudos for the reporter for asking. Great to see you, Darlene's. And Teresa Wing, hey, when the RCMP claim they are not looking at the family, you got to remember Daniel's not a family member. He is not a blood relative. But I mean, that's, to me, if they haven't been able to rule out the parents and say they've been cleared, just because they're not willing to say that there's a suspect or they're looking at somebody as a suspect doesn't mean they're not suspecting somebody of wrongdoing. They're just not going to tell the public about it. And it's not unusual in Canada. This is pretty textbook. Just so sad for Lily and Jack still wondering about Jason and his dog. The morning of the kid's disappearance. Justin? Is it confirmed that they did not have winter? No, absolutely not. Not confirmed. Maybe Daniel's bio kids have actually experienced his frustration at first hand, so they would see how he treated Malaya's children. The picture of all 5 of them floating around. The children didn't look genuinely happy. Okay. Okay. All right. I have skirted this for long enough. I'm going to read a Facebook post. And then we're going to get into some pictures, guys. This Facebook post is by a woman in BC. Crazy enough, but it was enough to get our attention. This is Shelley Hamilton. And is this the Shubenacadie First Nation? Is this what they're talking about? Because that I cannot say that word. Anyways. Our children are not ghosts. A call to the nation for Lily and Jack. I am writing this from the unceded territories of the Waikum and Waikai nations. Sorry, didn't mean to butcher that. In Campbell River, British Columbia, where I reside as a welcomed guest. My name is Shelley Hamilton. I am I'm so sorry. I'm not even going to try because that would be bad. Mother of 4, and I am reaching out across the miles to the hearts of the people in Nova Scotia. Distance cannot silence the truth. Our children, Lily and Jack Sullivan, deserve the dignity of a full investigation and the respect of their true identity. I am calling on every member of the nation to stand with me. We must speak as one voice to the Chief and Council, asking them to formally demand that the provincial justice system stop hiding the truth behind the sealed court orders, which are search warrant affidavit. They're not court orders, but okay. For too long, colonial systems have used stereotypes to diminish our children. To hear people say Lily and Jack are not Indigenous is a wound to our collective dignity. In our way, kinship is a matter of spirit, not a government category. When we allow their identity to be erased, we allow the system to treat their lives as less valuable. We cannot let our missing children be forgotten or mislabeled. The hearing on February 17th at Pictou Justice Center is our chance to demand the light. What hearing on February? Oh, did I just out them? Sorry. I am asking every member to contact the band office and council to support a formal demand for the 2-hour gap, a full RCMP logs from 8 a.m. to 10:01 a.m. on May 2nd to explain why the radio was active while the official story stayed silent. They weren't reported missing until 10:01, so that's that. Forensic Truth details on the cadaver dog alerts, the photos of the property and search areas, and the full report on the pink blanket. Digital accountability, the release of GPS search histories from all seized devices, the social services files, an end to the secrecy surrounding what was reported to social workers and why these children were not protected, the unheard words, the release of all polygraph names and records. Since these cannot be used in a criminal trial, there is no reason to keep them from the community. Our children belong to all of us. If the system is allowed to keep secrets about 2 of our kids, they can keep secrets about any of them. Please reach out to your leadership today. Ask them to pass resolution for transparency and let us show the courts that the nation stands behind Lily and Jack. Justice thrives in the light. Let's bring them home to the truth. I mean, some of that was not accurate. I thought it would be disrespectful to read the post, or sorry, show the pictures without reading the post. Put it that way, right? So now I'm going to show the pictures that this lady had included in that post. It's a very nice picture, orange shirt day. And here is Lily. Here's Lily. It's a beautiful picture of Lily. Sorry, I'm just gonna... Sorry, I'm just reading a little bit of chat. We'll get to the interviews, you guys. Am I buffering? I shouldn't be. I've said that many times, Ron, about Daniel's discrepancies. For a brief minute, I forgot I wasn't on TikTok anymore. I tried tapping the screen. Jalen, thanks for stopping in. Okay. Okay. So it's formerly Indian Brook, Shubenacadie. Okay. She does look happy. Yes, she does look happy. Very beautiful smile. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next one. Oops. I need to... It's stupid that I have to like unshare and then reshare. It's on the same screen. But I like to do it this way so I can zoom in, you know? Okay. All right, you guys. So here they are on the school bus. And looking. And we seen this the other night and somebody was like, is that Lily? And we zoomed in and I was like, no, it's not Lily. And then I sent it to a couple of people who know Lily. And in fact, it very well could be Miss Lily. You can see brown hair down here. It's the nose and the mouth and the eyebrows that got me. What do you think? Is that Lily? I want to know what you guys think. Okay, so for those of you, I'm sorry, this is just, it's a lot. If we, it's a lot. Okay, just give me a minute. Give me a minute. There are other photos that I received when we were trying to figure out, is this Lily or is this not Lily? Let me just open a couple of them. And this is why, you guys, this is why I asked certain people not to watch. I did send this to them privately. But anyway, I want to, so we're not sure if that's Lily or not. So let's just pull up these other two that are in fact Lily, and just so that we can have like an educated guess. One sec. This one. Wish I could jump back and forth. But if you notice the eyebrows and just the way the eyes are, beautiful eyes, but the nose and the lips. So let me pull up the other one again. Hate doing it like this. I just don't know. I need a tutor. I need somebody to show me the right way. It's not photoshopped. It's not. You would have to blame that Shelly lady of photoshopping, because this is literally her zoomed in photo. Stop it. I'm just reading. Do you guys think? Need a clearer pic of her nose. You have them side by side, Teresa? You want to like take a screenshot and send it to me so I can put them up side by side? There's Chelsea. Right. Right. And you're not wrong. But the point was, it's not a Photoshop. It wasn't somebody just doing it to cause trouble. It's her eyebrows. And sorry, guys, I do believe... this looked like, to me, it would have been a field trip, and they weren't in the same grade, so I don't think so. Wish closer family or school could confirm. Guess what? No comment. I have the same question about the little girl that would be sitting beside her. I thought they said her and Jack both sat together. This was on the way to a field trip, Cindy. Jack has a Carhartt hat as well. Lots of kids do. You bet. So yeah. It's terrible. It's horrendous to think about. It really is. And you can have your doubts that it's not Lily, and I have no proof that it is. But after looking at that picture and the rest of the photos that I was sent to compare, and you can compare your own pictures that you get. To me, it looks like Lily to me. It just does. It just does. It's either one or the other. I don't think it's Jack. You can think what you want, Jam. I mean, photoshopping is usually not that bang on. And like you said, it was pulled off of that random woman's post on Facebook. I don't know. Of the pictures, I do not. I do not. Yeah, I still, like, I don't want to do it. Chelsea's right. I did that to show that it was part of one picture. It wasn't just, you know what I mean? You know, don't say that. You stated your opinion and I will now be follower. No. I mean, I can say, like, I do think that it's Lily. But that's just in my own eyes. If it's not Lily, if you don't believe it, then don't believe it because you think I know, because I don't know. Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion. I think there's a lot of resemblance to Jack in that photo, so my guess is yes, it's Lily. Like, what is with the kids in Nova Scotia getting black eyes all the time? My kids are like 32 and 30. Not once. I've never had a black eye in my life. She got them from the school website. Because then other people, when I sent the post to other people, they obviously went and searched. So. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just looking. I mean, I played sports as well. I don't know. I never had a black eye. I even got beat up one time, still no black eye. So you guys, I mean, you can take a screenshot of that, okay, and then pull up all the pictures you have of Lily, and just decide for yourself. And just know it's been added to the file. Because we've seen photos of alleged black eyes on Jack. And we've heard the stories about Jack and Lily hitting each other, getting into accidents, and they seem to have black eyes quite often. We heard that Lily got a black eye on Wednesday, April 30th, through an accident with a Tonga truck. We have yet to see a black eye on Lily. So it's just heartbreaking. To me, it's heartbreaking. Anyways, what is going on? Who's messaging me? I mean, I'm not showing this. It's got kids that have nothing to do with anything. Just a couple of questions. I don't know how anybody would confirm it. The people that I talk to close to these children didn't have a comment, and other people with vested interests believe it's Lily. That's all I can tell you. I don't know how I would be asked to prove it. That's why I put it out there the way that I did. What else do we have here? Because I know I asked for something. I don't know. Sorry, you guys. If you sent me stuff, sorry. I gotta go. I gotta move on. Otherwise, you know, start crying and shit, and I don't want to do that. All right, so just because we've had so many people asking about it, I'm going to play the interview with Rob McCann first. Because I think he did well. To me, he did well. Make sure my sound is on. Like, am I moving on from that too quickly? I don't want to offend anybody, but that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say, here's the information that CPS, this is why a teacher might report. Once a teacher reports, this is what possibly could happen. So Daniel's saying that they were there over behavioral issues and they gave us resources. Some of that could be true, but now we kind of have a better picture of why CPS would be called and what they may or may not do. But then Jack with the bruises, stories of Lily with the bruises, and now potentially, allegedly, a photo of Lily with a bruise that isn't the one that we heard about. I don't know. Yeah. Lily and Jack do still deserve much better. Much better. There was acknowledgement that she had a black eye prior to their disappearance, so if that is when the photo was taken. Oh, fair. Was this taken on the Wednesday? No, there was no school on the Wednesday. They were at Grandma Patty's. They didn't go to school Thursday. So she was on a field trip. So I don't think so, Ron. Thanks, Bonnie. It's a lot, and I don't want to just drop it and then run to the next story. I don't. If you guys still want to talk about it, we can talk about it, but I see you guys are... I still need somebody to start clocking how far behind in chat I am, so I know if it's even relevant what I'm reading, because I just spent like 30 seconds answering Ron's comment unnecessarily. It's Mad Dog McCammon. He has a fan club now, does he? I don't mind him. Never dead. Jack's bruise was on the opposite side, bottom of his eye, top of his cheek, not the same place. Well, the teacher would have recorded it and reported it, I would hope. All right. That picture's another boy. Maybe. Maybe, but I wouldn't know. Like, I don't know. To me, after looking, and you guys will do it too, other people will do it too, you're going to look at picture after picture after picture. I do, my opinion, think it's Lily, but I have no proof of that, and I very well could be wrong. But even if it's not, kids in Nova Scotia, stop giving black eyes. Stop getting black eyes. Because there's too many of them. If that's another kid, it's too much. Okay. I don't know if I can make this bigger on the screen, but I'm going to make it bigger like here. Like, I don't think I can like do full screen or anything. So this is like 9 minutes long. Okay. I'm going to mute myself and play this. Let me know right away if there's a problem with the sound. Okay.
Rapidly world, Canadians are faced with new challenges both at home and abroad.
So we are going to run the country.
Get the answers you need. I'm Adrian Arsenault, The National, Canada's newscast.
The biggest night in Canadian music with your host, Mae Martin. The 55th Annual Juno Awards, live March 29th at 8 on CBC.
Now to some breaking news. The world moves fast.
We're gathering at one of those turning points in history.
But a headline isn't the whole story. Get the facts that matter. Why is that your focus right now? From a source you can trust. The National, Canada's newscast.
The work we're doing and the information we gather, we will find out what happened with Jack and Lily.
Staff Sergeant McCammon, with the case of Jack and Lily, what's the latest?
We continue to gather information and then work any direction that there's more information to gather, review that and look for more opportunities. We continue to take in tips from the public and to review and move forward.
Is this case criminal?
Right now, we're gathering all the information. Once we have all the information necessary, we'll make decisions on any criminality that may be relevant to the case.
Are you treating this as criminal?
Again, we gather all of our information in any of these situations to a judicial standard in case there is information that identifies criminality. And that is part of our job, is to gather all the information so that we can make good decisions with it.
Can you explain how that works under the Missing Persons Act?
Well, basically, the Missing Persons Act gives us the ability to get judicial authorization to pursue different, more private information that we can then gather to review for any tips or leads, directions to go to find more information.
The children's stepfather, Daniel Martel, has also indicated that recently his DNA sample was taken. Why now?
Because it was the appropriate time, or we felt it was time to collect that information, of course. Sometimes DNA doesn't necessarily, not because anybody's a suspect, but to maybe we may find DNA in places where we expect it to be found, and we need to be able to eliminate people. So it's something that we do, especially in missing persons cases, that to collect that information, make sure it's safeguarded.
Are any of the children's family members considered suspects in this case?
I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. Again, we continue to gather information and whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that. But we are not in a position to really comment on suspects or anything like that at this time.
Do you have suspects?
Again, we're working the investigation. I can't comment in detail on where we're going because I have to maintain any integrity of the work we're doing. Anybody in the public who has information that can help us with this are asked to please engage with us and pass that information along so that we can work with it.
So I think it was Ron, did that clear that up for you? He said they're not prepared to call anybody a suspect. It wasn't just about, like, her question was, is the family considered suspects? And I mean, that was his answer. Like it or hate it, but I personally, I don't think that they ruled anybody out, but they're not prepared to call anybody a suspect.
What do you think happened here?
Again, I'm not going to comment on what I think. As a professional investigator, we have to base our direction on evidence and information. So I'm not here to comment on my thoughts, and I'll allow the information we gather to make those decisions.
From the beginning, RCMP has maintained that this was not an abduction. The families believe that it could have been an abduction. Do you think that that's a possibility here?
Well, if that were something that took place, we will gather the information and we will pursue that, and we will pursue any charges related to anything like that that took place. However, again, we don't have any direct evidence of an abduction or anything like that at this time.
So you're not pursuing the investigative avenue of an
Again,
abduction?
we will look in all avenues of investigation. I'm just, that's not evidence or information that we have directly at this time.
Why not?
Oh, there could be a number of reasons for that. We may not have found that information yet. There could be a member of the public out there that has a key piece of knowledge that we haven't managed to bring forward yet. There could be a number of reasons for that, and the other one being they may not have been an abduction. So there may not be evidence out there to gather. Again, that's why we have to let the information we gather dictate our decisions and direction.
The families say that on May 2nd, they were told by an RCMP member on scene that an Amber Alert would be issued, and that did not happen. Why not?
I can't comment on the commentary that may have happened between a member and the family at the scene. But when it comes to the Amber Alert, the criteria for an Amber Alert wasn't met. We didn't have the necessary pre-qualifiers to issue an Amber Alert. However, we did issue vulnerable persons alerts related to the disappearance of Jack and Lily, and that was the appropriate kind of direction with the information we had at the time.
Looking back, was that the right call?
Yeah.
Have mistakes been made in the handling of this case?
I'm very confident in the work that the RCMP's done on this case, from the initial response that was within really minutes, and people on the ground searching property within a couple of hours, and the continued investigative effort by the investigators. I'm very confident in the work we've done. No, I don't believe we've made any huge mistakes, and we continue to put effort in to try and resolve what's happened with Jack and Lily. I'm confident in the work the RCMP's put into this file.
What's taking so long?
Well, the sheer volume of information that's come in is a big part, and investigations like this take time. We've had over 8,000 videos that we've had to review and go through. We've had over 1,000 tips from the public, and each one of those tips have to be reviewed in detail, and steps taken to ascertain the veracity or whether they're accurate or not. And that all takes time, and you have to do it thoroughly, and you have to document it properly. So larger investigations, they take a lot of time to do, and we have to take these steps and make sure we get our everything in a row properly to move forward.
At this point, do you think those children are still in the woods?
We've done an extensive ground search using all technology that could be available to us, including drones and penetrating radar for the ground. And we've had human remains detection dogs out there, and our ground search and rescue volunteers covered extensively the area around where the children were missing. So I think the chances are low. However, there's always that possibility that they may be in an area that we haven't been able to find them. It does happen. It's happened. So I would say the chances are there is a slight potential they're still in the woods, but we're following up on every lead we can to try and ascertain that.
So if they're not in the woods, where could they be?
Well, again, that's part of that is the main goal of what we're trying to accomplish, to find out what happened with Jack and Lily.
The court documents suggest that RCMP are using technology-based techniques. What does that mean?
Basically, we're looking at whatever technology is out there to assist us with our work, whether that be during the search phase with the drones and the side scanning lidar and radar, or whether that's through the use of different analysis products or other tech options, whether it be the use of video review programs that do things more efficiently, which we have done. there's just looking at different ways to do our jobs more efficiently and to gather the most evidence possible.
In the early hours of May 2nd, we know from the court documents that 2 people in the area heard a vehicle coming and going. What can you tell me about that? Is that substantial evidence here?
We have followed up on all those areas, and we're confident in the information we've gathered, but I don't really have any direct comment about that situation. We've it's part of our investigation, and we'll continue on with that.
So you're not saying that it's not relevant?
Obviously, it's something that happened in the area the morning that the 2 kids went missing. We have to consider that a relevant thing to follow up with and look into, but I'm not suggesting that's creating us to consider criminal action or anything like that.
As we approach the 1-year mark, is there any sense that this could become a cold case at this point?
I can't really comment on that. The information and investigative work will dictate that. As far as I'm concerned, it's not going to be a cold case. This is a case that needs to be solved. So we will pursue every avenue available to us to ascertain what happened with Jack and Lily.
So as of right now, it remains very active.
Very active. Very active. Yeah.
Do you think this will be solved in the near future?
I hesitate to put any timelines because, as I said, this is a large investigation, and this, as you've identified, there's a lot to it. It's not an everyday kind of file that's fairly simple and straightforward. So I hate to put a timeline on it, but I believe that with hard work and the work we're doing and the information we gather, we will find out what happened with Jack and Lily.
So did that clear it up for Bullet? Is Bullet still here?
My business has grown.
I don't know if there's a benefit to, because has everybody watched the other interviews? Arrest made, is it the son-in-law, Deborah? Has everybody seen the other interviews? Okay. The only reason I ask is because there was like an extended version of Cindy's interview on, what was it? Where is it? Oh, The Current, I believe. And so I would like to listen to some of that. And then, do y'all miss Daniel? Do you want to watch his interview? I'll leave it up to you guys as we're listening to Cindy. Again, this is just audio. It's on The Current. So, I don't know if I can put a picture up. I'm going to play with it while we're listening to it. If I put a picture up and you guys stop hearing sound, you let me know, okay? But just so you have something else to look at other than, God, shit, it's not going to let me. That sucks, because I have to stop sharing this one in order to put a different one on. You want to, okay. So, okay, we can play Daniel's interview after this. I think it's, we'll start and stop as we go, okay? I'm going to mute myself. I don't think I would get an echo, but just in case, I'm going to mute myself.
This week marks 9 months since 2 young children vanished without a trace in rural Nova Scotia. 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack were reported missing on the morning of May the 2nd. Since then, an extensive grid search of 8.5 square kilometers involving 1,700 crew members over 12,000 hours has turned up nothing aside from a blanket hanging in a tree and a child-sized boot print. For months, we have been hearing from the children's stepfather and his family, as well as Jack and Lily's paternal grandmother. Now, the silence surrounding the children's mother has broken. Her loved ones sat down with the CBC's investigative reporter, Angela McIver. Angela is in our Halifax studio. Angela, good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
Who did you talk to?
Well, these are all people close to Malaya Brooks Murray. She is Jack and Lily's mother, and she has stayed out of the public eye, Matt. She's still not ready to talk, but her mother, Cindy Murray, did sit down with me and my colleague, Allie Thompson. Also, Malaya's close family friend, Cheryl Robinson, and her childhood best friend, Angeline Maloney Arsenault. This is Malaya's inner circle, people she has trusted the most as she's been navigating these last 9 months.
And what did that inner circle, as you call it, tell you about how Malaya Brooks Murray is doing?
They're extremely worried about her. They say she hasn't been doing well and has lost a significant amount of weight. Robinson says she's just trying to take it day by day. When I was speaking to her just before Christmas, when I was speaking with Cheryl, she told me how Malaya had gone shopping for Lily and Jack, and she bought them clothes and toys, and she had them all wrapped for Christmas. And there were also unopened birthday presents for Jack. He turned 5 in October. There's still a sense of hope that they will still come home.
You're speaking with this group because Malaya Brooks Murray has not talked publicly. What did you learn about that decision, why she hasn't spoken out?
Yeah, that has certainly been a criticism. She did one media interview the day after the children went missing and nothing since. And her mother, Cindy, told us that in the beginning, the RCMP advised them not to talk.
Just really quickly, you guys, okay. So I do have proof that I cannot show, okay? But that picture of the black eye is not Lily. I have the proof in front of me, and because it's another child, I can't show it. But please set the record straight. If I had the ability to rewind and not ask you guys your thoughts, because I really did think it was. I have proof. I mean, they don't look dissimilar, but it's definitely not Lily. Okay? Thank God. But wish I could rewind and redo that. Just don't let it get out that's Lily. Correct it if you see it. Okay, let's continue. I apologize. Thank you for sending me that.
So they stayed quiet. Then the case went international and the online speculation became intense. Yeah, so Cheryl Robinson is a close family friend of Malaya Brooks Murray. She says anyone who knows Malaya isn't surprised by her behavior.
I guess if you know Malaya,
It's difficult. I mean, I have to.
Somebody told me to start at 1:55, and I'm thinking that's not correct. So give me a couple minutes, and I will find Cindy's portion.
in the beginning, a lot of people blamed us for having the kids.
Trying to live through the cold, getting kicked out of places like Tim Hortons there, or keeping warm in the library.
Damon, Tracy's partner, says the hardest part.
Inside, Cheryl described it as very cluttered. Just to give you a sense of the conditions she's talking about, here's Cheryl again.
The conditions that the kids were living in, things that we had learned through looking for the kids. I know that not everybody has a fancy house, not everybody is rich, but there's things that you can do to improve your living conditions.
Malaya's friends and family also learned the decision for me. This case matters to everyone. We all think of those two children, and it's been wearing on us emotionally for sure. There are days you need to step back, but we keep going and reporting on this because there are still just so many questions, and it's our job to at least try to get some answers.
I appreciate you bringing us more of what you know and leaving some of those questions out there to be answered as well. Angela, thank you very much.
Anytime.
Angela McIver is a reporter with the CBC's Atlantic Investigative Unit. She was in our Halifax
Yeah,
studio.
so
Your
the
CBC
person that
News.
sent this to me gave me a timestamp of 1:15, and I went there, and that was just kind of an intro. And then we started hearing from Cheryl.
In an hour, what a month off the booze can do to reset. This week marks 9 months since 2 young children vanished without a trace in rural Nova Scotia. 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack were reported missing on the morning of May the 2nd. Since then, an extensive grid search of 8.5 square kilometers involving 1,700 crew members over 12,000 hours has turned up nothing aside from a blanket hanging in a tree and a child-sized boot print. For months, we have been hearing from the children's stepfather and his family, as well as Jack and Lily's paternal grandmother. Now, the silence surrounding the children's mother has broken. Her loved ones sat down with the CBC's investigative reporter, Angela McIver. Angela is in our Halifax studio. Angela, good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
Who did you talk to?
Well, these are all people close to Malaya Brooks Murray. She is Jack and Lily's mother, and she has stayed out of the public eye, Matt. She's still not ready to talk, but her mother, Cindy Murray, did sit down with me and my colleague, Allie Thompson. Also, Malaya's close family friend, Cheryl Robinson, and her childhood best friend, Angeline Maloney Arsenault. This is Malaya's inner circle, people she has trusted the most as she's been navigating these last 9 months.
And what did that inner circle, as you call it, tell you about how Malaya Brooks Murray is doing?
They're extremely worried about her. They say she hasn't been doing well and has lost a significant amount of weight. Robinson says she's just trying to take it day by day. When I was speaking to her just before Christmas, when I was speaking with Cheryl, she told me how Malaya had gone shopping for Lily and Jack, and she bought them clothes and toys, and she had them all wrapped for Christmas. And there were also unopened birthday presents for Jack. He turned 5 in October. There's still a sense of hope that they will still come home.
You're speaking with this group because Malaya Brooks Murray has not talked publicly. What did you learn about that decision? Why she hasn't spoken out?
Yeah, that has certainly been a criticism. She did one media interview the day after the children went missing and nothing since. And her mother, Cindy, told us that in the beginning, the RCMP advised them not to talk, so they stayed quiet. Then the case went international and the online speculation became intense. Yeah, so Cheryl Robinson is a close family friend of Malaya Brooks Murray. She says anyone who knows Malaya isn't surprised by her behavior.
I guess if you know Malaya, you would know that that isn't out of the ordinary for her. That's just who she is. She was always quiet. She was never a confrontational person. She's like very shy. She only likes to talk to certain people. She doesn't like to broadcast herself. She's just, if you know her, then that's just the way she is. And I know that her behavior to a lot of people may seem odd, may seem different, and it may not be what a lot of people would do if their 2 kids were missing. But until you're in that situation, you really don't know how you would act.
As you mentioned, you spoke with Malaya's mother, Cindy. How is she doing, and what did she share about her grandkids?
Yeah, she has been very cautious about opening up, especially with the media. As the months have passed, though, she is getting more desperate for answers, and that has empowered her to now speak publicly. Jack and Lily called her Nene, something that she misses.
They were very sweet kids. They would come play. Lily's laughter, she was so exciting to be around. She was full of life. Jack, he would love his dinosaurs, and he loved his little zoo animals, and he would play with those for a long time. And he would come like to the barn, and he loved to see the horses and the animals and stuff. Yeah, they had a lot of fun. They were fun kids.
Do you have a favorite memory with them?
We went to the beach a lot. They liked the water. They played with the sand, and we would make little sand castles with their baskets and their buckets.
Angela, listening to that, I mean, you can't help but notice that she's talking about these children in the past tense.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? I think as more time passes, it's hard for everyone involved to talk about the memories in particular.
As the grandmother, how is she holding up?
She appears strong on the surface, holding it together. She's a bit guarded, I would say. But Matt, when you ask her to describe what this has been like, she completely falls apart. Cindy says she last saw the kids on Easter about a month before they vanished, and they all came to her house for dinner, and everyone seemed happy. She has spent the last 9 months trying to wrap her head around the unusual circumstances of this case and what could have possibly led to their disappearance.
It's something that I've never heard tell of. 2 kids just go missing without a trace or answers. Doesn't make any sense to me. And it's been like over 8 months now. And it's really hard to, it's just a nightmare. Like, I can't describe it. It's mental torture to figure out, like, how come it's taking so long for them to find out what happened. I really have no words. I just want them to, find out answers. I just didn't feel it would take this long.
How often did she see Jack and Lily?
In person, not that often. They FaceTimed frequently. But here's the thing, Matt. Malaya cut out most people out of her life when she moved to Lansdowne with Daniel Martel in August of 2023. They lived in his mother's trailer. She didn't give people the address, which is about 30 minutes away from where the couple had been living with Jack and Lily before at her grandmother's house in Truro. She was pregnant at the time, and she cut people out of her life, including her friend Cheryl, who we heard at the beginning, and they didn't speak for 2 years. Cindy says she had no idea why her daughter was so unhappy until the weekend the kids went missing.
What do you mean?
Well, she got the call and she rushed to Lansdowne. So did Cheryl, Malaya's brother and sister, and a bunch of extended family. And when they arrived, they said the scene was chaotic. Multiple RCMP teams, there were dozens of search and rescue volunteers arriving on the scene, neighbors, friends, and family. They say it was stressful. Lansdowne is a very rural area. There's lots of trees. You can't see your neighbors. The trailer they were living in with the children is older, a bit run down. The front deck had a hole in it at the time. There were toys and random things all over the yard. Inside, Cheryl described it as very cluttered. Just to give you a sense of the conditions she's talking about, here's Cheryl again.
The conditions that the kids were living in, things that we had learned through looking for the kids. I know that not everybody has a fancy house, not everybody is rich, but there's things that you can do to improve your living condition.
Just so you know, like, I'm not going to end the stream and start a new one, but I'll be able to edit that part out. So anybody that's on the replay will not see that picture. So I will take care of it. Yeah.
Living conditions.
Malaya's friends and family also learned the following day, on May 3rd, that her boyfriend, Daniel Martel, had a history of drug use, meth and cocaine. And Matt, that revelation led to a heated argument that later became a pivotal moment in this case.
How so?
Well, I asked Daniel Martel about it when we sat down for an interview in early January. Here's his account of what happened.
My mom, said to the RCMP, this right now, this whole situation, this isn't about Daniel, this isn't about Malaya, this isn't about, Malaya's friends and family, about my friends or family. This is about Lily and Jack, her friends or family, or we're told, not to be on the property. They could remain at the end of the driveway. And, as time went on, we went to our first search briefing. And after that first search briefing, they left and did not return.
So just to be clear, Malaya, the children's mother, never came back to the property where they all lived?
That's right. She has never returned. And I asked Cheryl about that because that has been everyone's big question here. Why did the children's mother leave the scene?
She had left because we weren't leaving her there. It just wasn't the proper fit. And we knew when Jack and Lily were found, or we were hoping that they were going to be found, that they would be brought back to Malaya's mom's anyway. So we didn't feel the need to have to stay there.
And court documents have provided more insight, Matt, into the dynamics inside the home in the weeks leading up to the children's disappearance.
What have you learned through that court case?
Yeah, so this is something CBC and the Globe and Mail have been pushing behind the scenes since last June. We asked for 12 documents known as information to obtain search warrants to be unsealed. And in those documents, an RCMP member summarizes information gathered in the course of their investigation. Redactions have been slowly lifted over time. Most recently, we learned Daniel told police during an interview that he and Malaya had been recently fighting about money, according to the documents. Malaya was asked by police if Martel was ever physically abusive during their 3-year relationship.
And what was her response to that question?
Well, according to the officer who wrote the affidavit, Malaya said he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. The document went on to say that she said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Daniel told investigators there was no physical violence in their relationship. In the interview with me in early January, before we had the court documents, he also denied the allegations. There have been allegations from Malaya's friends and family that you were abusive to her. Were you?
No.
They said that when she moved in with you, she cut off all contact with them and you monitored her phone.
She also monitored mine. We both had the same passwords on her phone. And her friends, she blocked her friends on my phone, and she blocked them on her own phone.
So how would you describe your relationship before the children went missing?
Yes. I don't really want to talk on that because I don't really want to talk on too much to do with Malaya. It's best that we don't.
And Matt, I should add that none of the allegations have beak further about the charges.
What is the RCMP saying about the case of Jack and Lily? Where does that currently stand?
They say it's still very active. Teams are working on the case every day. But in terms of what they will tell us, not much. It's still considered a missing persons case, and the RCMP says it does not have reasonable grounds to believe it's criminal. Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon is the head of the RCMP Major Crime Unit in Nova Scotia. He says at times it is hard to be
So it is and that all takes
the fact that they're not treating it as a criminal investigation. I think that if they did, maybe they would make a lot more headway in a faster time period.
Now, Angeline has become the unofficial online detective of this group. She finds a new piece of information or possible tip, and then she tracks it down.
Kind of like a second job, maybe in a way, but not in a bad light at all, though, because you don't know what types of things on there that could actually lead up to something huge, right?
You talked earlier, Angela, about how this case went international and that the online speculation has kind of exploded. Talk a little bit more about that information online and the speculation that has surrounded this case.
Honestly, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. There have been dozens of true crime YouTube channels around the world dedicating hours each day to Jack and Lily. It has slowed down a bit the last few months, but the social media groups are another thing. People are constantly posting rumors, photos are being doctored with AI. There's fake profiles that have been created in an effort to get information from family members. So many times I have seen screenshots of private conversations with family members or friends posted on social media and these YouTube channels, and it's to the point where everyone involved is just being more careful.
How has that level of attention affected, as you said, everyone involved?
Yeah, well, for the most part, Malaya stays offline and doesn't pay attention to it. Angeline tries to stay on top of it, and so does Cheryl. But there have been days that Cheryl has been scared.
I've had people post my address online. I've had people sit across the road, take pictures of my house. Just a lot of nasty things. In the beginning, a lot of people blamed us for having the kids. A lot of people don't know the dynamics around the situation, and I know that people think that they're helping the investigation and they're trying to help, and they're really not. If anything, it's making it worse because of...
So there's pieces of, I still haven't heard Cindy yet in that, but there are pieces of that interview that people were talking about. And if you guys haven't seen it, what can I do? I'd like to maybe link it, perhaps. But basically, what I wanted, because people were commenting about how, you know, Angeline and Cheryl kept looking at each other. And just my observation and my own experience, when I'm uncomfortable, I will search for something close to me that brings me comfort, that can calm me down. So if I'm about to cry, or if I'm looking for reassurance or something, I will look to my friend or somebody that's sitting next to me. So I didn't think anything. I don't think that they were feeding off each other. I don't think they were playing off each other. I think that that was just a level of comfortability for both of them. That's just my own observation of that. But okay, so I'm not going to let this go much more than 2 hours, because I don't want a bunch of people starting to watch that replay before I can nix that picture. So let's move on right now to Daniel's interview. I know a few of you wanted to see it again. As I said, I'm quite sure that this is going to be the last time we see Daniel do any kind of interview, due to the charges that he is facing right now. Which, by the way, another thing about his charging documents that came out, I said I think, like, it's possible that those charges were based on what we've already heard, you know, him holding her down, and we don't know what the circumstances were about that, and these charges could be based on that. But if you go to Daphne's Members Only Live and you look at those charging documents, and I have no idea if people screenshotted them and sent them out, whatever, whatnot, but the police file number starts with 2026. So that would mean that the complaint was made in 2026. And what are we, 5 weeks into the month? So I don't know if I would be so comfortable anymore in saying that it could be that one situation. We do know that it was between those dates, but the complaint, so if it was based on her statement to the RCMP when he held her down and all that, I think we would have seen a much earlier police file number. Just my opinion. Yes, I will definitely link CBC's The Current in the chat for sure, and I'll do that as we're listening to Daniel here. So let me just share my screen again, share my audio. Oh, just a sec. There we go. Share my audio. Here's the Boy Wonder, and I'll play it and share that Current in the chat. And I don't know if I'll stop this or not. It kind of goes quick. But pay attention. Pay attention.
Okay, Daniel. So what's the latest with this case?
I think we're gonna have to dive into some questions so I can, really try to answer that, because I mean, there's so much. But what I can say is my blood was taken or drawn, and they got a few drops in my blood for that, check my DNA, because my DNA is obviously going to be on the blanket. But I can't really disclose, and I'm pretty limited on what I know about the blanket at this moment. But I can say, like, with the DNA collection, something's definitely proceeding forward with that.
How did that go when they took your sample? Did they take you into the station?
Yeah, it was done at the station. An investigator did it. They have an applicator, which, they hit the end of your finger with it, just like you were testing for your blood sugar. Just, pinch the end of your finger, and I had to squeeze for 20 minutes to get some blood out. But after we get those 4 drops out, it goes onto a little pad, and it's put in a envelope and then plastic bag and then sealed up for evidence.
Do you know of anyone else who had their sample taken?
No, I was never disclosed any of that.
Yeah.
Nor do I ask, because I know I would not get an answer in return.
Right. You've been asking questions.
Yeah, I ask a lot of questions. Sometimes they can't answer.
And was that voluntary, or did they?
That was
call you?
100% voluntary. They never have to get a warrant to do anything. I'm always cooperative. Just like in the past, I keep asking them, do you want my phone? Do you want me to do more polygraphs? Like, I'm open to everything. And I always tell them that. They say, Daniel, no, we don't need your phone. Daniel, no, it's not necessary to do any more polygraphs. So at this point, I'm very cooperative, And when they did up the paper for consent on my DNA, they fill in the paper, May 2nd, missing persons case for Jack and Lily. And then they go through it. And then there's the box checked for criminal involvement, no criminal involvement. And they check the box for no criminal involvement. And I put my signature on it, and there was my consent.
How did you feel when you saw that box was checked?
Very happy. But I've known since the start that I'm 100% innocent. But to see investigators say that to me before, but then also, see it visually with my own eyes, it was a big thing.
So it's your understanding you believe that RCMP do not consider you a suspect?
I'd say 100% I'm not considered as a suspect at this point.
Why is that?
I mean, from that box being checked. But we can also go back to when I had my polygraph exam. When we went over the questions beforehand, all the questions were on death, right? So they concluded that by the end of it, I was truthful with all my all my answers. So I didn't have anything to do with the murder of Lily and Jack. And there was no questions on the disappearance or abduction or kidnapping or anything of that nature. So that leaves me with, I didn't murder the kids. I have nothing to do with the disappearance because they did not ask any questions on that.
And so you mentioned that in the polygraph, they didn't ask you about the disappearance and whether you had anything to do with it. But I'm going to ask, did you have anything to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily?
No.
Did you kill them?
No.
What do you think happened to them?
At this point, I'm completely just not sure. I mean, I've thrown speculation out in the past and, narratives that I think, or theories that, what I think may have happened. But at this point, I have to just go with what the RCMP say, because they have so much information. They have more resources, and they're the ones that are fully invested in this case. They have the, intellect and professional training to do what they do. It's been 8 months, and I know a lot of people think that, the kids are not alive anymore, but I hold out hope 100%. I'll always hold out hope every day because there's no reason not to.
Do you think it's criminal?
Yes. But it will not pivot to a criminal case or a criminal investigation from a missing persons until they have a suspect and they're going to be investigated and then, formally charged.
Do you get any sense from RCMP that they believe this is criminal?
Yes, but they don't openly share that or talk about that concept with me. That's pretty limited. They use as least amount of words they can to convey what they're trying to get across or questions, or it's usually me who tries to dive in depth with them, but they're pretty tight-lipped on everything, and they should be.
How many times have they officially interviewed you?
Formally interviewed. The very first one was about 4 hours, and since then, I'd say about maybe 5 times. I don't know the count exactly, but probably around 5 times.
And when was the latest one?
The latest one would have been that would have been on the blanket. So, and the actual formal interview for that wasn't very long. That was probably about 20 minutes. But the amount of time I spend with them is a lot, because we go over a lot. It's just me asking questions and how can I help them, and so it's usually like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I only plan on being there for 20 minutes or whatever they have to do with me. But it's just like we just keep talking.
And so when you say interviews, that would be recorded on the record interrogations.
Yeah, that's audio recordings.
There have been allegations from Malaya's friends and family that you were abusive to her. Were you?
No.
They said that when she moved in with you, she cut off all contact with them and you monitored her phone.
She also monitored mine. We both had the same passwords on her phone, and her friends, she blocked her friends on my phone, and she blocked them on her own phone.
So how would you describe your relationship before the children went missing?
Yes. I don't really want to talk on that, because I don't really want to talk on too much to do with Malaya. It's best that we don't.
Okay. And so you mentioned that there were some accusations about your past drug use.
Mhm.
I've read some things about it being drug use that week, the week the children went missing. Is there any truth to that?
No, I didn't have any drugs. And Major Crimes knows that. Or they would have, charged me with possession of drugs or drug paraphernalia. There was nothing at the house. So, and they know that.
What is your history in terms of the drug use? What would you like to share, just to clear the air?
I did not have any drugs. People thought I was doing drugs during the search. Absolutely not. I don't owe any drug dealers money. I don't owe anyone drugs. I'm not a drug dealer. I don't manufacture drugs. Can't really speak on anything more than that.
Those have been all the accusations aimed at you.
That I have, manufactured drugs, sell them. I give them to people to sell. It's crazy.
No drug party that night.
No, there was no drug party. There was no leaving during the middle of the night. When we pulled into the yard on Thursday afternoon, it would have been about 3:50 or just right before 4 o'clock. The vehicle did not move till the next morning, until I got in it and then went searching for Lily and Jack that morning when Malay was on dispatch, or contacted dispatch.
How have all of these allegations impacted you?
At the start, it didn't bother me because they're obviously all not true. Basically anyone can just go on there and say whatever they want without any recourse at all. And over time, it started to get to me because it's just constant, right? I tried to keep up on it all and tried to, tell everyone the truth and correct everyone, but it was just too much. When those groups start to get so large and there's thousands and thousands of comments and thousands of questions every day, it's too much. And then you have YouTube creators, they just go on and, they basically become delusional. They have their mob and they look to destroy, or they're completely obsessed with me in the case.
Yeah, I mean, what have you learned about the true crime community?
That it's absolutely vicious, and I said this word a lot, but obsessive. And a lot of those creators in the true crime community, it's like basically, talking to like a barnyard animal, I guess you could say. They don't add any value other than just being there.
Do you
Who do y'all think he was talking about there? Who do you think he was talking about when he said talking to YouTube creators, some of them, is like talking to a barnyard animal? When he looked up, who came to his mind?
feel at this point things are getting worse? Or has it eased up at any
The
point?
community it's becoming more aggressive with their conspiracies and theories due to my lack of engagement online. I've received numerous death threats, and Major Crimes has, notified me on that, and they're working hard to basically get them under control and find out who's doing them.
How are these death threats coming in?
I mean, I get them daily on my phone. That's a normal thing, but Major Crimes was aware of them. I'm not sure if they came in for tips, call-ins, or some other way, but they didn't want to dive into that. They're pretty limited on what they can tell me about any of it. I mean, basically, because they don't want me to get worried and everything like that, but pretty serious stuff, I guess.
How are you dealing with that?
I'm dealing pretty well with it because, nothing really scares me in that aspect. It's been 8 months, and I don't really put much thought into where much, I don't recognize it as, having any impact on my life personally. But I imagine a lot of individuals are probably like scared for me, I guess, because, they care about me. But for me personally, I just see it as like another rock that skips off the water. There still is, people with big hearts out there and open minds, but they're not on there posting. But I do have loyal supporters, and I appreciate every single one of them.
So now that we're coming up, getting to 9 months in this investigation, what's your sense? Where do you think the case stands?
I think the case, it's moving forward, but there is so much information to, really, examine and really go through before you can complete this part of information, then move to the next. And I mean, there's so many tips being called in, and then there's tips that are absolutely useless. Like when you see me out in public, don't call in a tip. I mean, that's just total nonsense, because you're slowing down the investigators, and you're slowing down the social media team that they have, and or the guy who checks the tips and reviews the tips. I mean, you slow him down when you're just putting in tips that say, well, we seen Daniel at a gas station buying a Gatorade, because that has happened.
Right. Wow. What would you like to see happen with this case?
I would like to see it closed and Lily and Jack found safely, and someone is charged with criminal offenses.
Because that's what you think will be
Yeah.
the result here.
Yeah.
You don't think they're in the woods?
No.
Have your own theories shifted at all along the way?
They have, but they always come back to what I originally thought. After I just, go over all the information so many times, or lay in bed and go over everything in my mind from the very beginning to where it is now. The theories in my mind change, but I still have to go with what RCMP say, because they have the most information on the case. And I know that's their job to bring justice for Lily and Jack, and to bring them home safely.
Yeah. I was just curious to see what you guys thought, who he was referring to. I think you're all spot on, and they're my friends, and I don't take kindly to people calling my friends barnyard animals. But at the same time, and I'm not condoning this. Oh, I guess I can't. Never mind. I was just going to share this link. That's a long link. Let me find a different way. But I mean, they definitely give him a go. They definitely give him a good go. Where's the share thing? Is there a way to like a share button? I'll try. Okay, so I'll try to share this link. It looks a little bit long, so I don't know. I don't know, you guys. Did it go all in one? Probably not. No, it didn't. Shit. Sorry. Go to CBC News. CBC.ca News Canada, Nova Scotia, Lily and Jack Sullivan. You should be able to find it. That's wild. Usually you can share this stuff. And so, okay. I would like to know from you guys, and like I said, I don't want to go too far past 2 hours because I need to edit the beginning. But what do you guys think? What are some ways that this case would not be criminal? I've already said many times, like factually, the only way that this would be non-criminal. I would like, maybe I've got, maybe I'm not thinking outside the box. Can you guys give me some, like, let's brainstorm a little bit. I don't think that he was talking about shenanigans. I don't. She's too new and she's nowhere near as vicious as some of the other ones. And there was another comment that I wanted to address because it was somebody saying, there it is. I heard that a tip was called in because he was at Barney's River 10 days after Jack and Lily went missing. Yes, there was, but there was a reason for that. It's because that Earl owns land up there. And so the idea was he was up there for a reason, nefarious reason. So it's not like the Dollarama tip where just because Jack and Lily were there the day before, take the cadaver dogs there. That one kind of fell flat, I think, but I think that the one at Barney's River made sense for them to check it out. But the hearing on February 17th is to unseal the investigation records. Which one? Which ones? Yeah. I keep meaning to ask Justin how he gets his little sound bites and stuff, because I don't know. Putting it lightly, just think if it was us or our child. Look at the diarrhea that spews out of his mouth. He was a lot more careful with his words. And a lot more guarded with his body language as well. If you remember that one interview, he was saying there, people read into everything, like where he's putting his hands and this and that. And this one, he's very controlled. Ran away from home, wandered. Right. Is that the only way? Because that's what I say. That's the only way that hasn't been a crime committed here. Alien abduction. I believe it is criminal, but the RCMP are not there yet. They need to cross their T's and dot their I's. And they have said that privately. They have said that they have to make sure that all their bases are covered. They need to get it right. Because there's a lack of evidence and suspicion of foul play, Char, which is why it's not criminal yet. Right. And I think the second that they name a suspect or admit that they might have a suspect or a few or people that they're looking at, I think then that kind of cements them into turning it into a criminal investigation. If not criminal for him or Malaya, I think maybe if kids actually walked out and that's another thing too. I've been really putting a lot of thought into the alleged fact that the kid's scent was lost at the end of the driveway. And I can't find where that came from other than Daniel. So it seems as though I may have been misdirected from the very beginning. And I just really thought that was a fact. Soundboard for sound bites. We use a soundboard for our podcast recording, but we don't do it on StreamYard or anything when we use the soundboard. We have our headphones and special mic and stuff, but we're not doing that tomorrow. You still question why they went to bed in their clothes? Me too. That's right. I mean, nobody's forcing anybody to watch anything, ever. I don't believe they wandered off. Lead investigator even says slim chance of that, so I'll go with the RCMP at this point. I mean, I'm glad that he admitted that. I'm glad that he said it. Exactly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they took them or why they took them at this point and for the last number of months. Keeping them on the missing persons list, allowing this investigation to go as far as it has, it's criminal at this point. Even if they're safe and sound, it's criminal. Even if Malaya herself took those kids out and gave them to some, which I do not believe, it's still criminal at this point. I can't help believing Lily and Jack are still alive. It's good to have hope. It is really good to have hope. A criminal cover-up, but hard to believe due to lack of evidence. Right. I agree with you. But where does that leave us? That leaves us with where are Jack and Lily? We still are no closer than we were 9 months ago. All we have now is a bunch of shady people, a bunch of suspicious circumstances, and no answers. Yeah, no, and I mean, they would not tell anybody if they had a suspect. They're not going to name a suspect until they have enough evidence to charge the suspect. That's my opinion. Did they release him on present charges? Yes, he was released on police undertaking. Well, he said slim chance, he didn't rule it out, said it is possible, which is part of why I think they have no idea. Yeah, nothing's been ruled out. And that tells me that they still have no proof of anything. And if you say, I believe the children are deceased, people will come back at you and say, well, there's no evidence that they are. There's no evidence that they're not alive. And that's true. It's absolutely true that we know of. But I am sure that if they had evidence that the kids were not alive, I think that it would be a lot easier to read into what he said. But it's just, he gave us information. He gave us a lot of information. I really like this interview, but we're no further ahead. Kimber, I'm really sorry to hear that. Lost a child to murder. I have to have hope for these precious. Yeah, I get it. And there's nothing wrong with having hope. Once it's a criminal case officially, there's going to be charges quickly. Best to stay missing case until more evidence. Look at Gus Lamont. Yeah. Just turned criminal. I agree with that, Ellen. We're not any closer, but it seems the RCMP might be. He had a lot of stored energy. You know, the bouncing of his leg. Like, he was cool, calm, and collected, except for that leg. Just for the record, I don't think that, I don't think Malaya knows what happened to the kids. I think she might have suspicions, but I do know that she says she hopes that they'll be found alive. But I don't think, I know my fellow creators, nobody thinks the same way I do. I get it. But I don't think Malaya knows what happened to the kids. I'm fixing that picture because I got a picture sent to me after that portion was done, of the actual child that same day, with the black eye that was not Lily. And I can't show that picture because it's full of other people's children. So I'm not going to show that picture. But I can confirm that the picture that I was asking if everybody thought it was Lily, is not Lily. And unfortunately, I didn't get the proof of that until after that segment was done. And so I just want to go, I'm not going to remove the conversation about CPS and the bruises and stuff, but I am going to clip out that picture. It's not my child. It's not a child in any investigation or any online coverage. Absolutely no reason to have his face out there, even though it was just this much of it. I feel like they may have charged him after seeing this interview, assuming they got an advanced viewing. Oh, that's interesting. Mad Dig interview. January 6th, I want to say. This one? I think it was January 6th. There it is. Thank you, Sarah. There, you guys. Sarah's posted the link. How'd you get a shorter link? You think I'm ignoring you? I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you. What? I don't ignore people. Look at 7 News for Gus's case that technology used. I will do that. So I think a lot of people are, you know, I don't know if it's new because of this new interview that people don't think that Malaya has anything, well, any information, like no idea what happened to the kids. But I would also like to say that I did find out that, so the day of on Saturday, when they went to that briefing, and during that briefing, she was shown a map of everywhere that had been searched already. And that threw her into a full-on panic attack because they had searched so much land by that point. And if the kids weren't in there, she was devastated. And so when her mom and Haley and everybody wanted to take her out of there, she was basically assured that when they found the kids, they would bring them to her wherever she was. So she took the opportunity to leave, right or wrong. And I still don't agree with not using even social media to post flyers and stuff. But hopefully that can give a little bit of context in what tangible items that she was looking at and the situation being what it was, why she panicked, why she broke down, and why she decided that it was okay for her to leave. Like I said, right or wrong, that to me, putting it in context, it does make a bit of difference to me. The Crown is going to want to find them before charges are laid. No, they can charge without, but absolutely, especially with no evidence. Usually if you have a no body prosecution or even arrest, it's because you have a lot of forensic, not just circumstantial evidence to back it up, right? We're not talking about two adults here whose banking stops suddenly, or they don't go to work, and there's nothing to show that these kids are no longer alive, and there's nothing to show that they are alive. So there's their proof of life. It's not like an older person who goes missing and they have ways to kind of ascertain that they're not alive anymore. They just can't do that with these small children. That picture of Malaya on the steps, she looks defeated, broken, hurt, and so sad. I saw that as a mother. You have to ask yourself, Charmaine, if your kid went missing, how would you react? I know we are not all the same, but my God, I would not rest until I had answers. I think that I would act the same, but I do not have anything to base a judgment on. I have never even come close to losing a child, a grandchild. My kids have always been safe and sound. I think I would be relentlessly searching for my kids. And I mean, according to Cheryl, that they still do their own searches and they do their own stuff. But when you have something as big and as far reaching as social media, your own Facebook, especially if I thought my kids were alive out there, I would want their faces to go as far as possible. I don't know. I agree with you, Bonnie, but I can't relate to judge. I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it. I am also suspicious of Daniel, just based on the strange comments and the inconsistent comments. And all you got to do is clear it up. And I've been asking him to clear it up for months. And he has, talked quite a bit. But I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure we're not going to see Daniel. Just clapping seal. Love your name. Everyone has an opinion, you bet. Yes, the charges are completely separate from Jack and Lily. Got nothing to do with Jack and Lily. It involved an adult victim, the charging document said. So on March 2nd, he needs to appear. And from, I don't know for sure. I've heard different stories about what may or may not happen. But I believe that, the charges are going to be read to him and he'll eventually have to plead guilty or not guilty and go from there. I think at some point he has to apply for legal aid or have a public defender appointed to him, or it could turn out that the Crown decides not to go forward with the charges. I mean, it basically means that Daniel was released on his own recognizance with conditions. And the conditions that we saw were he can't go around the victim. He can't be around the victim. There's been talk that there were missing pages and there would be more conditions than that, but I have yet to see them. But that's basically where we are. We have absolutely no information about anything other than he was charged with sexual assault, and forcible confinement. That's all we know, literally. Oh, and it happens between, what was it, September something and March 2025. But in the charging documents, it actually says December 1st, 2024. So all of the charges are listed, and the date of the offenses are December 1st, 2024. When she saw they didn't find them and all that search, it broke her, and she had a bad feeling that Daniel did something to her babies. That's kind of what I think. And I mean, I was told that right up to she had a bad feeling. But that's what I was told. She had a complete breakdown. Her family made her leave. They convinced her to leave. She left because the people who care about her wouldn't let her stay. What's she gonna do? Crawl back in bed with the dude who probably killed your kids? In your opinion? Malaya is also terrified of Daniel. She also would know what he's capable of. Charging without bodies is rare. You need proof of death, witnesses, confessions, significant blood loss, computer search histories showing how to dispose. Yeah, looking straight at Brian Walsh, that freak show. I questioned Malaya, but when I saw that picture of her, I felt for her. The blood in her ear, the neck of her shirt, possible bruises. I think things went bad when Daniel found out. Malaya wanted to leave, and somebody else mentioned that maybe that car was the catalyst. Like maybe, I don't know when the car was purchased, but we do know that it was plated on April 30th. I mean, maybe that, and money troubles, like maybe things just went real bad real fast. You have a small child on your hip, and in my opinion, the realization that Daniel might have taken action on a threat, it might shut one up in fear. Yeah. Remember, Daniel says that he was not doing drugs anytime that week that the kids went missing. I don't know. My ex had my own children against me when I left, even though we went to a women's shelter. It happens. Sure. Indigenous. You don't react rationally. I don't think there's anything wrong, and I'm basically alienating myself from my creator circle, but I don't have an issue with her leaving based on the information that I have. That if I was a mom and I thought for sure they're going to find my kids because they wandered into the woods, or everybody's saying that they're in the woods, and there's so many people out there, and drones and dogs and RCMP and searchers, and then I actually see it on a map, the entire search area, and the kids aren't there. I don't think there's anything to be called into question about her reacting and being like losing her mind. And then the police telling her, when we find the kids, we will bring them to you wherever you are. I don't know. Yeah. My ex-husband, who was abusive to me and my sons when I left, he did everything in his power to hurt me. Yeah. I was smart when I left. I went to the RCMP and told them what day I was leaving. I had the officer's cell phone number, just in case I had a problem. But when you went out, and you'll do whatever you need to do to get out. It's Kim. I'm very sorry. Okay, you guys. You don't think he'll be found guilty? Depends on what evidence they have, Marie. Like I said, it's not uncommon for, and I'm not saying this is Daniel, but it's not uncomfortable or uncommon for abusive men to apologize the next day for their behavior. She could have text messages. You never know. Never know. Yeah, I think that reaching for, like, grasping at anything, any possibility. I want an Amber Alert. I just thought maybe Cody has them. They have to be in the woods. Like, I mean, that kind of almost shows her level of panic. You know? I don't know. You guys, Finding Solace and Sarah are like badass mods. They're putting the best numbers in the chat. I'm hoping you guys are catching them all. If you need them, don't be scared to reach out. Oh, hey, Belinda. When I was asked if she was protecting Meadow from Daniel, she said she was protecting her from CPS. I remember that. Yeah. I really don't think I'd behave the way she did, but I don't know because thankfully I've never been in this situation. But I do have a friend who's an amazing mom, teacher, etc., with a similar, quite naive. To still shut her up 9 months later, can't see it. I agree. I don't think it has anything to do with fear. Not anymore. What happened the night before? Why did Daniel go and turn the light on in their bedroom at midnight? Very concerning. It's all very weird. If he had ever made threats and she believed he has power and control Jack and Lily disappear, then, in my opinion, he made her run, losing Meadow. Think how much she will feel when he wins. At every turn, silence is best option to her. Everything we've asked about possible scenarios of what may have happened, even accident, says everything normal that day. But then he also states he don't remember, so what possibly happened? Oh, I think he remembers. If he doesn't, it would be selective memory. Personality that seems like Malaya has, and I can see her acting that way in a case like this, just completely shutting down, and I'm not making excuses for her. Was the 6 bags of clothes to leave there and not from doing laundry as their belongings packed up didn't appear to be a lot? Would explain a lot if so. I don't know what you mean. Was the 6 bags of clothes get packing up to leave? Well, like, he wasn't asked for, gosh, I can't remember, but it was quite some time to pack up their belongings. So I don't know. But he did say that he and Janie packed up all the kids' belongings. So I think I understand what you're saying, but I don't think so. No. Brian Walsh is a different criminal. Different case. He actually searched for ways to dispose of a body weighing exactly what his missing wife weighed. It's wild. Brian Ward is the bus driver in this case. I must admit I was perhaps blinded a little with Daniel, gave him the benefit of the doubt as no charges were laid, and I do stand by the facts mostly, but more now the cracks are showing more and more. Yeah. It's really, really hard. In the documents, I believe she clarified that it was her mom who thought Cody could be possible. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. But and I know that she had reached out to Belinda kind of in the middle of the night, wondering where Cody was and if she could get his number to give to the RCMP. is less than 30 minutes, very informative, and will help with understanding what Daniel was told. RCMP now have technology techniques, hence why he is now right. And I'm already half an hour past where I wanted to be today. Well, not originally. I could go all night, but not anymore. I'm going to end it, you guys. So we are doing members only tomorrow. The reason why members only is because my co-host on the podcast, Bree, finally decided I had to convince her that this is a safe space and a good community, and I promised to do members only, so we're going to have a smaller group than normal, which is fine, but we're going to do, because she hasn't followed Jack and Lily's case, I'm going to do my best to tell my daughter the story of Jack and Lily, give her some of the, I don't even know how I'm going to do it. And she's a very critical thinker. And I'll tell you one thing. I sent her, back in July, I sent her Janie's interview. And this kid was like, she told me she didn't see anything weird. And I was like, oh, you're crazy. You have no idea what you're talking about. But anyway, so it should be fun. She's great. I call her a kid, but she's a great kid. She's very funny. She's very witty. She's quick-witted. And I cannot wait to introduce her to my members. And it's probably going to be a one-time deal. So tune in if you're a member. And yeah. Thanks for being here. I got a video to edit. Thanks for your understanding. Thank you, Ron and Helicopter Grandma and Anastasia in Cleveland. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great, yes, and Gren gets to call her little sister. It's great. Yes, Bree is my daughter. She is my co-host. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.